Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you all know, of course, WWL comes off 1 week after, of course, Jackson Drake somehow was able to retain the Evolve Championship in a three-way. But the real question is, where does he and his cohorts, the Vanity Project, goes from here? Well, that's something we will find out. However, of course, the main event features, of course, an I Quit match between Kendall Gray and Wendy Chu. Now, as you all know, Wendy Chu has been stalking Kendall Gray for quite a while, and now the real question is, can he can Kendall Gray make Wendy Chu say I quit? That's something we haven't heard. We haven't even heard her talk in months or who knows how long. But that's interesting to find out. Now, as you know, AEW are a few days away until we head to Toronto, of course, for All Out. But however, they make their way to London, Ontario, of course, for September to remember. As you know, people are going to be laying down before we head there. Of course, Hangman has a face-to-face contract signing with Fletcher. Tekla goes in a no-holds-barred against, of course, Queen Aminata. And we have matches for the AEW qualifier for the World Tag Team belt ladder match taking place and All Out. So all hell is gonna break loose before then. So we'll see how things will progress from there. But first things first, if any of my Unagi Sayaka fan base subscribers are out there, this time I have a little something special for you guys. As you probably know, she just had a self-produced show last month and called hopefully I pronounce it right, Tono wa Go Lanshi Natsu no Unagi AK no Daiki Senma. Hopefully I pronounced it right. So yeah, so this one is an outdoor event. Really fun. But in case you guys want to know, Unagi once again goes face to face with Murder Grandpa. Yeah, if you guys know who I'm referring to Minoru Suzuki, aka the King. This is, of course, gonna be a real fun one to review, and I can't wait to share this with all of you. And then, as always, we will wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, let's begin with Unagi Sayaka's self-produced show. Unagi Sayaka fans. As you know, she's been doing recently a few of the self-produced shows, even funner ones that you might enjoy. This is her latest one that came out called Tono wa Go Lanshi Natsu no Nagi, aka No Daikasen. Hopefully I pronounced it right. This took place on the 2nd of August at the hold on, I think I got a note. Oh yeah, Tokyo Dome City Attraction Viking Zone Lawn Square. So yes, it's an outdoorsy event. However, in some distance where the camera is pointing the ring, there's like a couple of rides right there, which is a lot of fun. They only had 4 matches, but they really were fun ones. Not gonna lie. The first match we have some of the Yoshi wrestlers, um, Misa Kagura, YuuRi, and Honori Hanan taking on these guys dressed up as girls, and they have like girl names in this one. The first one is of course is Tsubaki Fujita, portrayed by Minoru Fujita, Annabelle Mogami, portrayed by Q Mogami, and then of course Veronica Yuiki, portrayed by Takanori Yuiki. Now, of course, you probably would say that this is a very strange one. Yeah, they're all wearing makeup and all that, but it's a lot funner because it shows, they're like playing the girls. They even do the poses in certain moments. But the real question is, how will this is going to go on? Well, there were moments where they were going through the audience, all that, but in the end, it was YuuRi who ended up on the wrong side of a tombstone by Fujita, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. Well, it was over right from there. So the men, or should I say girls, took over from there. Now, our next match, we have a tag team match. We have Haruka Umasaki from Diana. She teams up with Miyu Momono from Marvelous. They take on Ryo Mizunami and Aja Kong. Now, of course, you know these two ladies. Many of you who've been following the AEW bandwagon, Ryo Mizunami was part of the first show that opened up AEW Double or Nothing in 2019. She was one of the Yoshi wrestlers that opened the door for all of us to enjoy Yoshi wrestling, which is awesome. She teams up with someone who also was there, and as JR said in the very beginning, she's the kind of woman you don't see making biscuits. Yep, Aja Kong. So it's a very interesting combination because, of course, Umasaki and Hana know perfectly well when it comes to Umasaki and, of course, Miyu, they know perfectly well it's not an easy task to take down Aja Kong because she is big, she's a veteran. You know exactly what she's. Not to mention, she'll use the trash can on you. That's one of the things that did. But however, this match ended with, of course, Kong applying her diving elbow onto Umasaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have a tag team match, but this one has a mixture of one team, male and female. The first team is Seiko Tachibana. He teams up with Rina Yamashita to take on Fuminori Abe and Daisuke Sekimoto. Of course, it was a pretty good match. I mean, Fuminori Abe is one of the most hard-hitting wrestlers you probably would expect. And of course, Daisuke Sekimoto, a very technical bit of a wrestler in every aspect. Tachibana, well, he knows exactly what he's doing, and many of you know Rina Yamashita. She is a hardcore princess or queen, however you want to do it, but anything that was a possibility. But this match ended with, of course, Sekimoto applying a torture rack onto Tachibana, and he tried to fight it off, but unfortunately it was way, way, way too much for him, so he had to tap out. Sekimoto and, of course, Fuminori Abe walked out as the victors. Now, for our main event, we have, of course, Murder Grandpa, the King, Minoru Suzuki, taking on Unagi Sayaka once again. Now, for those who don't know, these guys' relationship goes way back, of course. Unagi likes to drive Suzuki crazy. I mean, Suzuki, he actually likes her because, A, she can hold her own no matter what he throws at her. I mean, he threw her right through the table, right through the chairs and stands. Beat her up like to a pulp where she continues to fight. But one thing was interesting is that you don't see Minoru Suzuki, who has like another side of him. They're like, wait a minute, this is not Minoru Suzuki. I mentioned earlier there was a ride right behind, like from a distance, and what's funny is he took her all the way over there by dragging her. And it was one of those rides where it's like one of those things you strap your harness on, you go up, and then you fall down, then up and down. Well, this one has a twist where it's like not only you go up and down, it also twists around. I'm like, he just, it's like he put her there, but she didn't seem like she wants to be there. I don't know if she's not a big fan of rides. That's the thing. I don't know. But Minoru Suzuki, he went a different direction. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was way too funny. But of course, the ref was watching this. They're like, well, at least they're doing fun, that sort of thing. But of course, like any other match, well, this had to end with Minoru Suzuki winning when he applied, of course, the Gotch style power driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the King won. So that's how it ended. I mean, I always enjoy Unagi Sayaka. I mean, she is a very interesting wrestler to get behind. I mean, she may not be the best or great, but she is awesome to watch. So any of Unagi Sayaka fans out there really love the show, you should check it out. So hopefully you can find it somewhere. But yes, I think that's pretty much it for now. So let's move on with the WWE Evolved. Okay, WWE Evolve. Now, of course, last week, as you all know, Jackson Drake, our current Evolve champion, retained the title by defeating, of course, Keanu Carver and Brooks Jensen. But, of course, with the help of that moron, Bryce Donovan. Now, of course, when it comes to retaining a title, the Vanity Project are trying to prove their point that they're the ones in charge. And, of course, that's exactly what they tried to do. But of course, members of the Vanity Project put themselves in an 8-person tag match. Keep in mind, folks, I'm not saying 8-person. It means men and women involved. So, representing the Vanity Project, we have Zeta Steele, Bryce Donovan, and of course, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, also known as Swipe Ripe. They take on Dante Chen, Draco Knox, who we haven't seen for quite some time, Tyra May Steele, and of course Sean Legacy, who we all know is aiming for the Evolve Championship. The only question we ask ourselves when it comes to him, when will that happen? We know he's going to bide his time until he is ready to fulfill his destiny. But however, this is a match where, of course, you know, there is one factor here. As you know, Jackson Drake is not involved in this match. I mean, he could get involved if he wants to, you know, to ensure the match goes in favor. But however, things did not go according to plan, because once again, when of course the Vanity Project thought they had everything under control, once again Bryce Donovan had to be the one to screw it up, because he ended up on the wrong side of the gentle touch by Dante Chen, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, later on we did see the Vanity Project once again. Bryce Donovan is in hot waters. Once again, he is responsible for the loss. And this is, of course, where we can say there's possibly cracks coming in with the Vanity Project. We don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they kick him out. But only time will tell. So we'll see where that leads. Now, Chewy Martinez talked to Aaron Rourke and Marcus Mathers, who have become a very interesting tag team where they face another makeshift team consistent of Jamar Hampton and its Gauls. So basically, they're ready to deal with it. But however, I think the real question is, will they be able to do so? Well, that's something we will see. Now, before the I Quit match, Kendall Gray is preparing for her match against Carly Bright. Now, of course, Kendall Gray knows that this is going to be a very tough battle, because the thing is, we haven't heard Wendy Chu say a word throughout ever since she went dark. That's one of the things we don't know. So we'll see. Now, Tate Wilder was in the locker room, and he was surprised by Sean Legacy. Now, of course, Sean Legacy told him, look, I know you lost several matches, bro, but that doesn't mean it's the end for you. This is just the beginning. Look, I haven't been on a good winning streak for a while, and look at me. I'm going back on track. I just have to work on it. So he's saying, just don't quit, because there are times it tells you quit. but I'm still here. So prove them wrong. So I have to say he gave a good pep talk for Tate Wilde. Now, our next match is Aaron Rourke and Marcus Mathers taking on Jamar Hampton and Itzgal, which is an unusual team that the team up. And it's interesting because people would think that maybe these two would not work because, of course, Itzgal was getting involved with Jamar Hampton. But it seems like they're getting along great. And probably many people might have thought in this match that Rourke and Mathers would have been picking up the win. But nope, somehow, someway, Hampton and Itzgal were able to sync with each other, and they applied this thing called the dummy drop onto Aaron Rourke, and of course 1, 2, 3 pinfall goes to Itzgal. So Hampton Itzgal got their first win together. So I am kind of curious where these two are gonna get from. So we'll see. Now, Chewy Martinez had a talk with Callie Armstrong. As you know, the preparations for the I Quit match. Now, Callie Armstrong, as you know, is fully aware that Kendall Gray is after the Evolve Women's Championship. But however, she decided, you know what, I'm not getting involved in this match. I'm going to watch it. But there is the one question many people say. Can Wendy Choo speak? Because we haven't seen her. But to the answer to that, well, we did see her and, well, we don't know. We'll see. Now, let's jump into the I Quit match. Kendall Gray and Wendy Choo. You know that they were plunder showing up. I mean, there was chairs, trash cans, whatever it was used to try to dismantle each other. But the real question is, can Kendall Gray make Wendy Choo say, I quit? That's one of the things that we haven't heard. I mean, like I said, we haven't heard Wendy Choo talk ever since she went dark. That's one of the things that is a big mystery that I think many people are trying to understand. But it took many things to try to break down to Wendy Choo until, of course, Kendall Gray, who has been excellent with the armbar, was able to try apply more pressure in many ways possible until you heard those words coming from Wendy Choo, I quit. And just like that, she said it. It was over. So this means, will Kendall Gray get an opportunity for the Women's Evolve Championship? Most likely, but we just gotta wait and see what Callie Armstrong would have to say. But remember, there'll be more people that'll be gunning for that belt. So stay tuned for more. But as of right now, we are officially done with Evolve. Let's move on with, of course, with our last and final review, AEW September to Remember. Alright, final review, AEW September to Remember. Now, of course, this is, of course, a go-home show before this Saturday in Toronto for All Out. Now, of course, we have the AEW World Championship contract signing. We have the champion, Hangman Adam Page, versus, of course, the current TNT champion, Kyle Fletcher. Now, of course, the one thing that many people ask ourselves, we have seen how that snake, Don Callis, operates. He ensures that whatever happens in the match, it goes in favor to him. But Hangman can see that he is talented, but he's telling him that I don't want to see. There's a part of the contract that says, if any interference are coming, that means that Kyle Fletcher will lose the TNT championship, basically stripped from him. So basically, this is the last thing I think Don Callis would have wanted. But Kyle Fletcher, as you probably know, he is confident to believe he'll walk out as the AEW World Champion. And this is something, of course, Don Callis is hoping, because he mentioned to Hangman that he defeated a weak link, and he was referring to Kenny. And he said that Kyle Fletcher is even better than Kenny. Well, we'll see about that. Now, our next match, we have, first match of the day, we have Jon Moxley versus Roderick Strong. Of course, as you know, Roderick Strong, along with Kyle Fletcher, they're still in, of course, in disappointment with Daniel Garcia getting involved with, of course, with the Death Riders. But, of course, Marina Shafir gets involved, well, get in the face of Roderick Strong. And Yuta also gets involved, that little snake, and he actually cost the match thanks to him. And then, of course, Moxley applied the choke, the bulldog choke, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, MJF, as you know, he is the kind of person, he'll try to find a way to get out of situations He didn't even ask to be in. He tried to tell Tony Khan, I don't want to be involved in this table and thumbtacks. But Tony Khan was not having it. He was still pissed off with them when he was abusing the power of the AEW World contract signing, that sort of thing. So basically, it has to happen. Now, our next match, we have Tail Leona taking on Bobby Lashley. As you know, the Hurt Syndicate are at war with Ricochet and, of course, the Gates of Agony. The whole thing was becoming a mess. Now, when it comes to what happened, we know Ricochet is trying to say, you're going to show me respect, bitch. That's exactly what he's been trying to do the entire time. But things didn't go according to plan because Ricochet and Bishop got their butts handed to them by MVP and Shelton Benjamin. But Tail Leona ended up on the ground thanks to Bobby Lashley when he applied the Hurt Lock, and just like that, it was over. However, he refuses to let go until both sides began a war. Ricochet got whacked in the back by MVP's cane. So we'll see what happens at All Out. Now, we did see a face-to-face confrontation between Adam Copeland and his tag partner of many years, Christian Cage. They are in a face-to-face confrontation with FTR along with Stokely. But what makes it funny, of course, if you guys remember, where Adam Copeland was in a match against Stokely, this fan tells him that Stokely is bald, he's short, and he gets no hose. Well, that never ends. He tells him, Stokely, that's why you don't get no hose. So they keep repeating it. Of course, Stokely gets agitated. But the one thing that was impressed is Christian got in the face of FTR and whacked Dax Harwood with a mic. You can see him bleeding out. I'm like, holy crap. So all hell broke loose. So we're going to see what happens at All Out. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. Now, of course, we did see Renee Paquette talking with the Young Bucks. As you know, they walk away with $500,000 last time. And now they're paying the people to bring back everything they had. Their music, their Titantron, even the pyro once again. This is something that they've been looking for, but we'll see. Now, we have that match for the AEW World Tag Team's ladder match qualifier. They face against the Bang Bang Gang. Now, of course, it was an interesting match, but one thing that's interesting never fades away is that their involvement with referee Rick Knox. Now, for those who've been lifelong Buck fans, and of course, fans of Rick Knox, you all know those two had always had each other's throats at so many times. Well, they tried to bribe him, but Knox was like not having it, so basically things didn't go well. But unfortunately, Juice ended up on the wrong side of the TK driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they're in the match. Now, we do have another qualifier for the AEW Unified Championship that will happen. We have Beast Mortos versus Máscara Dorada. Of course, these two guys know each other very well. I have to say, there were some moments where they were losing a bit pace. I don't know if you noticed that. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good match. But in the end, Máscara Dorada walked away with the win with the shooting star press. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, in the post-match, Okada along with that snake Don Callis showed up. Until Takeshita showed up. As you know, there's been a bit of a, who is the top dog in, of course, in the Don Callis family. So Takeshita got in the face of Okada, but Okada got his butt handed to him by Máscara Dorada. So basically, I don't know what's going to happen, but there have been hints that someone is going to get kicked out of the Don Callis family. Kyle Fletcher mentioned that. I wouldn't be surprised if that person probably has to be Takeshita. Well, we'll see what happens. Now, Toni Storm has put out a very interesting promo. She talks about it's been 7 months she won back the AEW Women's Championship. But, of course, it's the moment where she is asking who is the one who's going to end it. So, of course, you have JB Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Tekla. So, we'll see what happens at All Out. But, however, her moment was ruined by Tekla, who is in a no-holds-barred against Queen Aminata. As you know, these two ladies have been going back and forth with each other all the time. So all hell broke loose. So there was a lot of plunder being used. I mean, uh, trash cans, chairs, ladders, whatever they can find. I mean, it was the most brutal match you ever get. But in the end, Tekla walked away when she stomped Queen Aminata with the chair onto the chairs, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But of course, Tekla called out Tony Storm during the post match, and here she comes. Then of course the Triangle Madness get involved, but that doesn't end there. Of course, we have Jamie Hayter and Chris Sattler getting involved. So you probably can guess how that was turning up. So we'll see where that leads. Now, during an interview, of course, Top Flight, along with their teammates Scorpio Sky and Christopher Daniels, they're prepared for their match for the AEW Tag ladder match qualifier at All Out. They face against Hechi Seto and Josh Alexander of the Don Callis family in Toronto. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. So we'll see. Now, involving that particular match, we have, of course, that particular match. We have Killswitch and Kip Sabian taking on Jet Speed. However, as you all know, when Killswitch returned, things have not been looking well for Kip Sabian, so things have been kind of chaotic. Now, there were moments where one tags him out without permission, but there was a very interesting moment where Killswitch just walked out. Well, not walked out completely, just backed off, and Kip Sabian ended up losing when, of course, he got a spinning heel kick by Speedball, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they're in the whole thing in the ladder match and All Out. Now, Big Bill once again is calling out Eddie Kingston. As you know, he's been aiming for him for quite some time. Now, we still don't know when will that happen. I mean, we know he's been out for a while due to injury, but we will see where that leads. So let's stay tuned for that. Now, we did see an interview with Bryan Danielson talking to Darby Allin. First, they talk about Mount Everest, about why he did it, and of course, if you guys may have heard, Darby Allin mentioned that he saw dead bodies on the way, and of course, he made things like taking the AEW flag at the top of the mountain, at the summit, something he was doing. But of course, Bryan Danielson was looking at him, but telling him, look, I know you felt responsible for what happened, but it's not your fault. But of course, Darby Allin deep down felt like it was. So that's exactly what he was telling him. But Darby told Bryan Danielson, whatever you do, do not get involved. Promise me. So he had to agree with Darby Allin. But he whispered something to him in the ears. We don't know what it was until, of course, Excalibur and what's his name, Tony Schiavone, they ask him, what did you tell him? That's between me and him. So who knows? Now, Mercedes Moné make her way to the ring because she is facing against her opponent at All Out, the first ever AEW Women's Champion, Riho, taking on Robin Renegade. Now, of course, Mercedes Moné is getting herself well prepared to face someone like Riho, as you know, who's been in wrestling business for 19 years at the age of, 9 or so? I don't know, but that's exactly what's going on. But Riho was able to defeat her by applying a crucifix bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Mercedes Moné made her presence known and attacked her to send a direct message saying that she is not walking away with the TBS Championship. Now, our main event, we have, of course, for the AEW World Tag Team title qualifier ladder match at All Out, we have the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander and Hechi Seto, taking on Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin. So it was a pretty good match in every way possible. I think many people would have presumed that finally Top Flight will have a good opportunity. But nope, unfortunately this match ended up with, of course, with Hechi Seto applying a guillotine DDT onto Dante, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, we did see the teams involved in that ladder match at All Out coming out. Even Hangman Page showed up as well, and Kyle Fletcher too. But of course, they were trying to dismantle Hangman Page to prove their point that no matter what, Kyle Fletcher is walking out of the title. And Fletcher believes and confident that he will walk out, that he will not be like Hangman Page. But we will see what happens in All Out. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we are officially done with AEW. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, as always, with upcoming events, with the GCW updates first. Now, as you know, they will be in Phoenix on the 19th of September. We have Keep in Touch. 2 matches have been announced involving on that. We have Acticus Cogar versus Starboy Charlie. And then we have Mance Warner, the Southern Psycho, taking on Rob Shit. Yes, that's the name of a wrestler, folks. I have seen them before, so don't question. And then, of course, we have the homecoming event in LA taking place on the 20th at the UCC. We have Matt Cardona taking on Man Like the Reese. And then finally, we have one called Manders taking on Marcus Mathers. Now, as you know, later on, they will on the 28th of September, they will be in London for Bloodsport. Another name has been added, and many of you guys seen him on both AEW and Ring of Honor. We're talking about Anthony Ogogo. So, yes, he'll be participating in the event. Seattle-based promotion, DEFY Wrestling, will be having an event taking place on the 19th of September, which is this week. We have 2 matches. I think the event is called Aeon. Hopefully I pronounced it right. Aeon. Hopefully I pronounced that. Hope that's the name of it. 2 matches have been announced. The first one is Amira versus Nicole Mathers, and the other one, Matthews, I mean. The second one is a tag team match. Midnight Heat. Eddie Pearl and I forgot who was the other guy. They take on Randy Myers and Matt Brannigan. So that's that. And then, of course, we have the Sendai Girls event. The Yoshi Peruso Big Show in Sendai on the 28th. The Sendai Girls Junior title will be on the line. If you guys remember recently, I haven't seen it yet. Yuna will defend the title for the first time against Stardom's very own Rian. For many of you who may not remember, Rian, along with Aya Sakura and Yuna and a few others, they participated in that junior tournament months ago called the Umajaja. And of course, Chi-Chi walked out as the winner. And of course, now that Yuna brought that back home to that, she will make her first self-defense. MLW with the Slaughterhouse event on the 4th of October. The MLW Women's World Featherweight Championship will be defended. Shoko Nakajima this time defends the belt with another wrestler from Tokyo Shoko Wrestling, and that is Imawari. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And then we have the House of Glory with Glory Comes Pride taking place on the 20th, I think. No, on the 10th of October. We have the Crown Jewel Championship on the line. Zilla Fatu defends his belt against Bear Bronson. Yeah, the same Bear Bronson you all know. And then finally, we have, of course, Jersey Championship Wrestling with Possession taking place on the 20th at the Mecca in Ridgeway Park. A 6-man all-star tag team match will be taking place. We have Alec Price, Jordan Oliver, and Marcus Mathers. They take on Lee Moriarty, Adam Priest, and Darian Bennington. So that's pretty much it with all of the upcoming events. Now, here are some interesting developments. MARIGOLD has announced that Naho Yamada is going to be departing from the promotion. Reason is she's been sidelined since February 7th due to a ruptured ACL and the lateral ligament, the damage in her left knee. So basically, she is out for a while. We don't know when she'll be back. Hopefully, she is in full recovery. I kind of forgot that she was out since then, but yeah. Nick Khan has mentioned on Sports Business that in 2026, early 2026, they will have a pay-per-view event in Italy. We know that there's been recent times WWE has been doing international pay-per-views. Recently, as you know, they were in Paris, and now they're making their way to Italy. And then finally, we have a very interesting development towards a former NXT wrestler. Many of you may remember him or not, named Kona Reeves. Now, he's no longer with the company. I believe he was released back in 2020 in that massive, how do I say, releases that we had. I think he was amongst them. But some of you may question, what has he been doing since then? Well, here's what he's been doing. He's been working full time as a stunt performer in Disney World at the Indiana Jones, and he said that he has been beating up Indiana Jones for a living. So yeah, so basically he plays a villain or so. I think it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen the show. I mean, I have been to Disney World before, but I never been to Disney Hollywood Studios at all. I mean, I would love to see it, but yeah. But he has worked as independent shows for Baton Rouge Wrestling part time. But he said that his time with NXT has been an amazing experience. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't think he brought any good intention, but it's great to hear what he's been doing. I mean, performing at a stunt show for Indiana Jones. So hopefully I get the chance to see it. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So I know I have more other things, but I'm going to do that on a separate video. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably know, we have TNA and Ring of Honor taking place. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. Now, I am intending to do another news updates for all of you. There are certain things that were coming around. Recently, there's been some problems with the TNA talent involving that winner takes all match for the NXT and the TNA World Championship. That's pretty much it. And of course, Toni Storm mentioned about a very interesting topic about what if what would happen to her if AEW wasn't around when she was released, and a few other things as well. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming out before the next episode. So stay close to that. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.